it's hard to start somewhere because it's a wide topic, but I just put there like the 4 main points of Seekan from my perspective. First of all, what it is. If you don't know, it's a data management system. It is built to build data portals to manage data and metadata. I will say the main focus from an architecture point of view is that it's built to be extensible and customizable and to be easy to integrate with other systems with the API. So Seekan works best when placed with other things. It is open source, not just in the sense that the source code is available somewhere online, but in the sense that it's maintained by a community of stakeholders. And it's a mature project. I think next year we will celebrate the 20th anniversary. A couple of years ago, it was designated a digital public good by the UN. And over the years, it has built a healthy community of users, contributors, and service providers. I say healthy, of course, there are sustainability challenges. We don't have unlimited resources to do whatever you want, but this is the case with most community-led open source projects. And I think that Seekan has a really strong base of a community of users to tackle these challenges. So to give the Seekan tour, this will be super quick and I won't use any slides. I'll use the live thing because Seekan never fails. So that's a reassurance. That's what you get in a standard Seekan install. It's not much to look at. It has a somewhat dated UI that we are replacing very soon. But of course, it's just a web application. It's written Python using Flask and a bunch of libraries which are very well known and supported, like SQL Alchemy and Jinja. It uses other stuff like Postgres and Redis. But basically, all the technology that it uses is industry standard, very well supported open source projects, so nothing esoteric in terms of technology. But of course, most Seekan sites don't look like that. They will look something like this, like the National Open Data Portal of Canada. And we started with the government portals because that was the original main use case for Seekan. And over the years, many administrations have adopted it to serve the Open Data Portal. There's Canada and the US in North America, but also, I don't know, put some examples here, Australia, Ireland, I think Europe, there's Germany, Switzerland, Finland. Americas, we have Argentina, there's Japan, there's many different national portals. And of course, all levels of government, provinces, all the way down to city councils like Barcelona, or government departments like the NHS in England. Seekan has been widely adopted on kind of this area. But Seekan wasn't designed narrowly with this focus or use case. So over the years, it has been adopted by many other organizations. Just to give some examples, it's widely used among UN agencies, like here's the Humanitarian Data Exchange maintained by OCHA, but it's also used in UNHCR, WFP, the FAO, in many other UN agencies. Research centers, the museum in London, it has a Seekan Power data portal that has been going on for many years and has a lot of cool customizations. Universities, I think it's Manitoba here, they're using it to publish data following FAIR principles as well. And also, the private sector has been adopting Seekan more and more. Anything from pharmaceuticals, real estate, energy management, like on this case. It's harder to get like screenshots or examples of this because they tend to be internal portals for private data, but of course Seekan can be adapted and customize it to work like that. And of course, besides all that, there's also community instances which are maintained by civic tech organizations, like in this case, Justice Hub, maintained by, I think it's called Civic Data Lab in India, or we have Open Africa, maintained by our friends at Code for Africa, etc. But basically, as you can see, all these sites and different organizations have some common data management needs, but then Zikan has enough flexibility to be extended and customized to adapt it to different domains or areas. In terms of features, let me just very quickly mention some of them. We'll use this site, which is a fairly standard site, very close to what Zikan looks without customizations. And besides homepage or about page or whatever, that will be, of course, adapted to each organization. We have, for instance, a search page. It's pretty basic on a catalog. Zikan provides all the built-in functionality with filters that you can customize. You can enable extra functionality like this date range thing via plugins. But essentially, Zikan allows you to search by any of the metadata fields of a data set, so the fields that describe the data set, and that can be customized by publishers to ensure that people find the right data. And once they find it, the dataset page, this contains all the data information, so the information about the data, what we call metadata. On the dataset, Zikan has a really strong emphasis on metadata management, where essentially it allows you to define one or multiple schemas for the site, which the schemas are basically the collection of rules that will decide how data should be described, what fields should be in there, what data types should be defined with, whether if they need to use control vocabularies for the field values, or if there's any kind of custom business logic that needs to be implemented, that can also be implemented. And that allows to build like robust and very well described data systems on top of it. Then Zikan also helps this metadata that publishers agree to work on with the same kind of format, then to expose it on different formats, so to make the catalog interoperable with others. So on that front, we've done a lot of work with, for instance, DCAT, which is a standard to expose metadata in a way that is interoperable between catalogs. So there's been a lot of work on that, but also more recently, other standard formats like Rosanne from an organization called ML Commons, which is specifically geared or tailored towards machine learning data sets. So we've been trying to not only support exposing your metadata as this format in Zikan, but also try to map it to DCAT so publishers can use both, or implement features in Zikan that are missing in order to fully implement and expose all these metadata formats. Besides metadata, which I would talk a lot, as you can tell, is something that I really like it. There's all the other kind of features that you will expect on a data management system, like anything authorization and access control, activity streams to track changes on the data, file uploads, tagging, etc. And if I had to mention another feature in Zikan on the actual kind of data front, one of the most used features and more powerful is Data Store, which is a data repository where the contents of tabular data files like CSV or Excel are imported, or you can push data directly to it via the API. And then from these repositories, Zikan provides a structured API to access it in a consistent way. And this allows to build things like the data previews that are shown here, or hook into external data visualization platforms like Power BI or Tableau, build third-party apps, etc. So Zikan stops being just a catalog and starts being more like a platform for building things on top of data. And in terms of features, I won't go through any of this, but basically, if anything is not provided by Seekon itself, there's probably a plugin somewhere that does it or does it something similar, and maybe you can adapt it because it's open source. And if you have to build something from scratch, then Seekon has a lot of hooks, plugin hooks and interfaces where you can hook into and modify the custom the core behavior to build custom stuff on top of it. And I just wanted to quickly go through a bit on how the project is set up and how the community looks like, besides like the actual technical parts of it. And Seekon was originally started and developed at the Open Knowledge Foundation, which is an organization that kind of pioneered the open data movement back in the early 2000s and 2010s. And as part of the whole set of tools and licenses and new kind of frameworks that were needed to push open data forward at that point, one of these tools was Seekon. And it started gaining popularity around 2010, where it was adopted by sites by data.gov.uk in the UK and then data.gov in the US. And then there was kind of a big explosion of usage around 2011, 2012, 2013. And up until that point, all the development and maintenance had been done by Open Knowledge. But then at this point, Open Knowledge kind of changed the governance structure to allow other stakeholders to join and contribute, but more importantly, to have a say on the direction of the project. So the actual governance has changed over the years, but what we have now basically is Open Knowledge acting as the custodian of the project assets like trademark and domains and whatnot. There are two project stewards that help with things like setting strategy or fundraising or high-level things. They're currently Link Digital and Datopian, two of the main commercial services providers. And then there's a tech team that is responsible for maintaining the code base and the contributions. There's around 8 of us right now, but with different degrees of availability, of course. And then we have a great comms team that helps with the social channels and organizing the events, which I will mention in a second. All our development is done in the open. Code is on GitHub. The different repositories, the docs are also public. Most discussions are done on GitHub, on the different repos themselves, on issues and discussions, and everybody is welcome to join there. We have a chat on Gitter, which is basically a matrix room. There's a monthly newsletter where the comms teams post together what's going on with the project. And we have a really cool monthly event, which are the community calls, where there's a deep dive on one particular topic or a particular site, or lighting talks about different extensions and stuff. So I encourage you to join if you haven't done so yet. And then we will have weekly meetings, the tech team, which we discuss incoming pull requests and issues and stuff, but they're open to everybody, and we basically open the floor so people can ask away things like how to implement a feature or a doubt they have around Seeker, or just say hi.